Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're going to do predictions for the year 2022 in professional wrestling. First up, one of the first major cards of the year, usually the first, but WWE decided to do day one on the 1st of January. Coming out of Wrestle Kingdom 16, which is 3 nights now, the 4th, 5th, and then the 8th, they're doing a combination show with Noah. Coming out of those 3 shows, my prediction is going to be Shingo Takagi is the world champion coming out of that. I think Shingo hasn't really got that chance to run with that ball. He kind of got the world title during the pandemic in Japan. And I think there have been, it's kind of been a cursed title ever since they changed it to the new design and changed the lineage a bit. So maybe rehabbing that, combining it with the belt that Okada's carrying around, the traditional title, and also Ospreay's claim to being the champion because he was never beat. I think combining that and maybe going back to the old design at least combining the lineage together is going to help break that kind of a curse off of the title, and I think Shingo's your guy going forward, at least for the first part of 2022. I think he's a guy that the fans want to see as the focal point, and I'm a huge fan of his. I'm a huge fan of a lot of guys on that card, so I think he's really going to be the guy that sets up New Japan for success through the year. Now, speaking of New Japan Pro Wrestling, I think in 2022 we're going to see the partnership with New Japan and All Elite Wrestling. I think that's going to build to a higher level, and we're going to see more stuff more dream match type scenarios. Part of that, I think, that's going to happen, we're going to see Okada, Tanahashi, and Kenta returning and all showing up at some point in AEW. Okada is friends with the Young Bucks famously. They made friends when they were all 3 of them were in TNA. Tanahashi, there was the videos going back and forth with him and Moxley that has never been paid off. I think we're going to see matches where Moxley and him wrestle in America and in Japan. And Kenta lives in America, so it's an easy thing. They've teased over the last year or so a Bullet Club now, or the current Bullet Club, and the people that used to be in the Bullet Club, the Elite and others, the Good Brothers, having a war against each other. So maybe we see Kenta starting that up this year, but I think all 3 of them show up in AEW. Now, speaking of that, on the other end of the partnership, to really solidify everything and hammer it home that it is a partnership, I think Kenny Omega is going to show up and wrestle in New Japan. From what the rumors said, when Kenny left New Japan, they were very frustrated with him. He was a guy that they wanted to use to build for the future, and him leaving when AEW started, they kind of were, if rumors are to be felt true, which I haven't heard if they've been 100% confirmed, but they were very upset with Kenny Omega for leaving and doing that. So I think for him and for that partnership to really work, Omega has to go back to New Japan, has to either do a dream match against Ibushi, or maybe him and Ibushi team up. Maybe there's a group like House of Torture that's attacking Ibushi and Kenny Omega makes a save. Something to that effect, where we have Kenny Omega making good and coming back to New Japan to mend that part of the relationship, so the New Japan and AEW relationship gets built even stronger. Speaking of relationships, this one is something I'm really, really hoping happens, and I hope Ring of Honor comes back and partner with AEW and do a talent exchange, a talent sharing system, almost where Ring of Honor would be like a minor league, but not necessarily for AEW, where you take a guy like, let's say, Powerhouse Hobbs, that you may not have plans for in AEW for the foreseeable future, so you let him wrestle in Ring of Honor for 6 months, Or you take a guy that you're wanting to build, someone like Hook or Daniel Garcia, and have them go wrestle in Ring of Honor, where they can wrestle the Jay Lethals, they can wrestle the Jonathan Greshams, the Silas Youngs, the guys that are extremely talented. They can almost use as on-the-job training while they're in Ring of Honor. I think that would be an amazing, beneficial relationship for the two companies. I think it would help everybody. Plus, it would get Ring of Honor back, get a buzz back to them. If you watched Final Battle was a fantastic show. So hopefully, I'm hoping, because I'm a huge Ring of Honor fan, that it comes back just as strong, if not stronger than it ever was. Now, something that we see in Ring of Honor, I'd like to see implemented in AEW, and it's the long-rumored Trios Championship. I know it's something that Tony Khan has talked about. It's something that wrestling fans have talked about. But with with the oversized roster that they have, you kind of need to have a place for people to do. A Trios Championship will be great for a group like Team Taz. Hobbs, Hook, and Ricky Starks as the champions. Or the Death Triangle. Or, a part of the Pinnacle or part of the Inner Circle can use that. While you're not necessarily using the guys in other things, AEW is heavy on factions, so there's a lot of natural trios teams that could be made. The Dark Order could field a team. They could put, 10 in Reynolds and Silver together and have a trios team. And you could do that and have different versions of it, kind of keeping guys relevant, putting a championship on it so you could say, look, this guy is a champion, these guys are champions. And then when you break them off, like let's say Hobbs breaks out of Team Taz, or Hobbs starts going for the main title, it's not crazy to imagine that a guy that just had a Trios Championship could also be the TNT Champion or the World Champion. Now, coming off of that, we're going to shift our gears to a different company, and that's WWE, with a couple predictions for them. The first one, AJ Styles is going to win the Royal Rumble. I know it's a long shot. I know it's kind of based off him and Omos breaking up and AJ turning somewhat face, or seeming to be the face in the breakup. I would love to see AJ have that one huge WrestleMania main event or WrestleMania moment. I know his Boneyard match with The Undertaker was really good for a cinematic match, but I would like to have AJ Styles, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, have a WrestleMania signature match as well. I mean, we got Daniel Bryan has one, or Bryan Danielson. All through history, your greatest wrestlers, barring a couple, have had that signature WrestleMania moment. Shawn Michaels, Ricky Steamboat, Randy Savage. All these guys have had that moment at WrestleMania, and I'd love to see AJ Styles finally get that moment. For all that he's done and all that he means to professional wrestling, I think it would be amazing. Now, being that, winning the Royal Rumble would send him to WrestleMania, and I'd like to see him challenge Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I predict that him and Roman Reigns is going to be the match at WrestleMania. I know that they want Roman Reigns versus The Rock. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we would have already seen teasers for it if it was, because from what I understand, the tickets are not selling as well as they would like them to. So if that was something that they were planning, if you say The Rock is going to be at WrestleMania, those tickets are going to sell. So I don't think The Rock is in the plans, maybe an appearance by him. But if you're not going to do that, why not give us an amazing match? Why not give us AJ Styles and Roman Reigns for the championship? I think it would be awesome. I think it would give AJ that signature moment. Roman has improved so much over the last couple of years that I think he is the guy in WWE, and I think it would be the most interesting main event that they could put together, bar using someone like The Rock in that spot. Now, coming from that, since WrestleMania is 2 nights, I'd like to see as the other main event, or at least another match at one of the 2 nights of WrestleMania. A fatal 4-way between the 4 horsewomen. I think it's been rumored, it's been talked about, it's been bannered about on every podcast that talks about wrestling since they were a thing. Putting those 4 women in the ring together at the same time, wrestling for whatever championship you want to have them wrestle for. Hell, you could even have them wrestle for both. I really think that would solidify their standing, even though it's been long solidified that they're 4 of the greatest women wrestlers WWE has ever had. I really think that they need that moment, the fatal 4-way at WrestleMania, with the 4 of them standing in the ring together, fighting against each other, and then at the end doing the curtain call hug or whatever you want to do with it at the end, but showing the 4 horsewomen symbol at the end to show how much of an impact they've actually made on the company. Now, I didn't want to go too far in negatives on this, but I'm going to put one negative because of what we've seen over the last 2 years and the massive firings WWE has had. I think there's going to be 2 huge surprise firings this year. Every year we have one, whether it be Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, the Good Brothers. Seems like there's big stars that are getting released. And I think this year, the 2 people going to be released that are going to be huge surprises. One just signed a contract, and that's Kevin Owens, and the other is Shinsuke Nakamura. I think that they're going to look down to 6 months from now, and they're going to realize we're paying these guys a high-level salary, and we're not doing anything with them. They've never used Shinsuke Nakamura properly, besides when he was in NXT. Kevin Owens has been hot and cold with the way they use him. Supposedly, Vince McMahon likes him a lot, but that could change at any moment. I don't see either of them being someone that they're going to run with having the World Championship for half of the year, or 7 months, or a year run, or being the main event of WrestleMania. So I think when it comes time to cut the after WrestleMania cuts, which actually, it used to be just after WrestleMania, but now it's anytime. As I'm recording this, they could possibly be releasing people. But I think they're going to be the 2 huge surprise releases this year. And speaking of surprises, I'm going to end the video on possibly the biggest surprise that can happen from last year's releases, and that's Bray Wyatt. And I think Bray Wyatt is going to sign with Impact Wrestling. And I say that because I think his style fits best in Impact Wrestling. He'll be able to do cinematic matches there. He'll be able to delve into the dark side, which, if anything about Impact Wrestling over its entire run, whether it be TNA or Impact, they have held and they have done really well with dark characters. And I think Bray Wyatt, portraying somewhat of the same character there that he did in WWE, I think that's the place he would go. Again, even if he goes there, who's to say they're not going to be open to him wrestling other places like NWA, like MLW, like AEW, like New Japan. So he could still do that if he wanted to, but I think he makes his home in Impact Wrestling. With that being said, most of these are probably going to come wrong. These are just my predictions on what I think is going to happen in 2022. Let me know what you think. Hit me down here in the comments. Give me some predictions. Give me some crazy ones. Tell me if I'm crazy. Let me know what you think might happen. Let me know who you think's going to headline WrestleMania. Who do you think's going to, headline Full Gear? Who do you think might get released this year? Let me know in the comments what you think. Also, make sure to smash the like button, share, comment, subscribe, ding the bell, all that good stuff that every YouTuber will tell you. With all that being said, my name is George Coles, and this is my professional wrestling predictions for 2022.